Pauline Garon was a popular leading lady of the silent screen and transitioned to starring in early talkies. But after a few years, she slipped into supporting parts and then bit parts. Why? Join me as I investigate. Pauline Garon was born as Marie Pauline Garon in or around 1900 in Montreal to Pierre Auguste and Victoria Garon. Pierre's family were from France and Victoria's were from Ireland, although they both had been in Montreal for a few generations. Believe it or not, Pauline was the youngest of 11 children. Growing up, she went to the Sacred Heart Convent School where she learned to speak English and studied theater. Around the age of 19, Pauline moved from Montreal to New York to find work on the stage. She first began acting in vaudeville before making her Broadway debut in 1919 in the musical A Lonely Romeo, which starred Willie Solar and Frances Cameron. She then supported Peggy Wood, Roland Young, and Donald Bryan in the musical Buddies, having a featured solo in the song Italie. In both of these musicals, it appears that Pauline portrayed French-speaking characters. In 1920, Pauline made her screen debut as Dorothy Gish's double in the Lillian Gish directed Remodeling Her Husband at Paramount. That same year, she had a small role in A Manhattan Night at Fox, which starred George Walsh. In 1921, Pauline made her final appearance on Broadway, playing the second female lead after Marie Doro in Lilies of the Field, which later became a Corinne Griffith movie. That same year, Pauline had her first starring role on the screen at Pathé in The Power Within, starring alongside William H. Tooker. She must have made quite the impression as evidenced by her appearance on the poster. In 1921, Pauline also starred as leading lady to Owen Moore in Reported Missing at Selznick. In 1922, Pauline supported Richard Barthelmess as his sister in Sunny at First National. However, her big break came in 1923, when she was quote-unquote discovered by Cecil B. DeMille and publicized as the DeMille Blonde, and cast as the young female lead in his comedy drama Adam's Rib, which also starred Elliot Dexter, Milton Sills, and Anna Q. Nilsson. While the film was a critical and commercial disappointment, I find Pauline's performance absolutely charming. She commands the screen as soon as she enters and is downright hilarious. Pauline followed Adam's Rib with You Can't Fool Your Wife, which sounds like it should have been directed by DeMille, but it was surprisingly not. It was directed by George Melford. She starred alongside Leatrice Joy, Nita Naldi, and Louis Stone. Pauline rounded out 1923 starring in 4 more pictures: Children of Dust, The Critical Age, Forgive and Forget, and The Marriage Market, which was her first time being top billed. 1923 was such a successful year for Pauline that she was named a Wampa's Baby Star. In 1924, Pauline was top billed again in The Average Woman, which became a critical and commercial hit and also starred Harrison Ford and David Powell. Thankfully, this film survives. Pauline continued to be a successful leading lady for the remainder of the silent era, making several films each year. She was often cast as carefree flappers, which, according to an interview, was the type of role she loved to play. Highlights of her work during this period include Pal o' Mine, Wine of Youth, in which she gives such a fun performance as flapper Tish Tatum opposite Buster Collier, William Haynes, and Eleanor Boardman, The Love Gamble in 1925, Flanders, also in 1925, Christine of The Big Tops in 1926, The Princess of Broadway in 1927, the hilarious comedy College Hero, also in 1927, and Must We Marry in 1928. In 1926, Pauline married actor Lowell Sherman, who apparently mistreated her sadly. Several sources indicate that he forced Pauline to turn down a great contract opportunity at Paramount, which probably is what resulted in her final years in the silence, mostly being at Poverty Row B Studios. After divorcing Sherman in 1929, Pauline found herself at Warner Brothers just as the industry was about to make the permanent transition to talking pictures. She first supported Lois Wilson and H.P. Warner in The Gamblers, which was her talkie debut. The film was a critical hit. She then supported Grant Withers and Marion Nixon in the Headlines, a crime drama, before joining all of the Warner Brothers talent pool and their talkie musical extravaganza show of shows. Pauline lent her stage-trained vocals to the lovely musical number A Bicycle Built for Two, which also featured Douglas Fairbanks Jr., Lois Wilson, Grant Withers, Edna Murphy, Jacqueline Logan, Buster Collier, Chester Morris, William Bakewell, Harriet Byron, and a young Anne Southern. While the film was a critical and commercial smash, Warner Brothers appears to have dropped Pauline at the end of 1929. Not discouraged, Pauline continued to find work around Hollywood, especially in roles that called for her fluent French-speaking skills and or roles that called for characters with French accents. The first of these types of roles was in MGM's The Green Ghost in 1930, which was the first French-language film produced in Hollywood specifically to be exported to France. Pauline starred with Jetta Goodall and André Luguet. Apologies for my French pronunciation. She then starred in the 1930 comedy short Oui Oui Marie with Slim Somerville and Eddie Gribbon, in which she played a French woman that comes between two soldiers in World War I. Further French leading roles included Check to the King at RKO, which was marketed for France, and The Other Son, which she made in France. What's interesting about Pauline's work in the talkies is that she effortlessly moved between playing French characters and American characters, her English not having any hint of an accent. Pauline's only starring role as an American character was 1930's The Thoroughbred, in which she gave a great performance as Margie, an accomplice to a villain out to sabotage a successful jockey played by Wesley Berry. But following her French films in 1932, Pauline moved into supporting and character work for the next few years. However, she still delivered memorable, often hilarious, and always scene-stealing performances. Highlights included Nancy, one of the many ladies who think a radio crooner is singing to them specifically in the Phantom broadcast in 1933, Gwen Reed, a lady with some tea for a doctor, Lou Cody, about his fiancée, played by Eileen Pringle, and By Appointment Only in 1933, and Vera Marks, a nosy train passenger that snoops her way into an adulterous couple's private car, and 1 year later, also in 1933. From 1934 to 1937, Pauline found herself often typecast as either a French maid or flapper types of characters in French versions of American films. French-speaking roles included Lulu in the French version of The Merry Widow in 1934 and another character named Lulu in The Man of the Folies Bergère in 1935. Highlights of her French maid type of roles during this period include Wonderbar in 1934, in which she was an operator but still the same type of role, The White Cockatoo from 1935, in which she played the maid Marianne, Dangerous, in which she played Margaret Lindsay's French maid, was also made in 1935. As memorable as Pauline was in all of these films, they sadly did little to advance her career further. From 1937 to 1941, Pauline slipped into bit parts and extra work. She did give one final, very memorable performance in the 1950 crime drama Bunko Squad, showing that she was still in possession of her brilliant talent. As Mary, a victim of a phony seance ring, she gives a gut-wrenching emotional performance of a woman desperately trying to reach her beloved from the beyond. It was her final film. In 1953, Pauline married actor Ross Forrester and seemed to enjoy a quiet retirement for the remainder of her life, but still made public appearances often, as evidenced by these photographs. Her husband passed away in 1964, and Pauline sadly followed in 1965 after battling a brain disorder. So we are left with the question, why did Pauline Garon's career lose momentum in the talkies? I think there are a few answers. First, I think Lowell Sherman's talking her out of signing with Paramount in the late 20s really hurt her chances of becoming one of their late silent to early talkie stars. While Paramount dropped a lot of their silent stars once the talkies hit and mistreated them, they kept many of them around too, so she could have had a 50-50 chance of a better opportunity there. Second, Warner Brothers signed her and then didn't know what to do with her. I think her ability to portray native French-speaking and native English-speaking characters made her too talented, if that makes sense. She could effortlessly play both types of character and somehow got lost in the middle when casting came around. I think it was hard for any actor at that time period not to fit into a specific niche, and not having one, really having two, Pauline found her leading roles becoming less frequent. As a supporting player, she still had her two niches, as a saucy French maid and or as a scene-stealing blonde. But I think, again, this dichotomy hurt her chances of getting major roles. It's a shame, as she was such a talented actor who could portray literally anyone in any type of character. The studios truly underestimated her potential in the talkies. Fortunately, several of Pauline's silents and talkies are available to view and enjoy. On YouTube, you can catch Adam's Rib, The Average Woman, Wine of Youth, The Love Gamble, and The College Hero from her silent days. You can also find her talkies, Show of Shows, The Thoroughbred, Wee Wee Marie, The Phantom Broadcast, By Appointment Only, and 1 Year Later. I also highly recommend purchasing Bunko Squad on DVD. I found my copy on eBay. It's an excellent movie, and Pauline's performance is simply incredible. Pauline Garon was truly one of the most talented actors of the screen and should be more well remembered today. Please check out some of her films and tell a friend. You won't be disappointed. I must thank my sources for this episode: Cinema Quebec, Classic Actresses, Find a Grave, and Archive.org for their digitization of Variety. Please like and subscribe or follow this account if you want to learn more about the history of silent film stars whose stardom lasted only briefly in the talkies. Up next, join me as I investigate the silent talkie career of Gaston Glass. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.